Well, hello everybody. Welcome to P.B.M. Money. A while back, I made a video called 2 Random Hours. Today, I'm going to do a follow-up called 2.5 Random Hours. And the purpose of both of these videos is to observe the use of debit cards and credit cards. And I must say that this time did not contradict but confirmed what happened last time, which surprised me last time, which is why I did it again this time. What did I do? Well, I work retail in my second job, and I run a cash register. And so for 2.5 hours on a Saturday, which is our busiest day of the week, every time somebody paid, I would put a little hash mark, and I'm going to show you what it looks like. There's the hash marks that I kept by my register. And every time they would pay, I would put a hash mark down. Now, there was 5 categories where I had to put one down. Did they use debit card or credit card? Were they over 40 or under 40? And then cash. All right? Now, in 2.5 hours, I waited on, let's see, 46 people. All right? 46 people. And of those, 22 people used a debit card, 20 people used a credit card, and 4 people used cash. Now, I got to tell you, I was surprised at that number. I expected the use of debit cards to be much higher than 50%. I mean, it is, but negligibly, maybe 55%. I expected that number to be 70 to 80%, which is what it was, or what I thought it was going to be the last time I did this. And it turned out to be about the same. So I guess the conclusion that I have to draw is half of the people use debit and half of the people use credit. And very few people use cash. In 2.5 hours, I only had 4 people pay in cash. That kind of astounded me. Now, the breakdown of under 40 and over 40 didn't really surprise me. Now, of the 22 people that used debit, there was 11 people under 40 and 11 people over 40. That shocked me to death. The same number of people over 40 as under 40 used debit cards. I still can't believe that. I expected that number to be 2 to 1 for people under 40 using debit cards. That just floored me. Credit cards did not surprise me in the least. Of the 20 people that used credit cards in those 2.5 hours, we had 13 people over the age of 40 use credit cards and 7 people under the age of 40. So twice as many people over the age of 40 used credit cards as people under the age of 40. That didn't surprise me. And of the 4 people that used cash, all of them were over 40. Nobody, and I mean not one person under the age of 40 paid with cash. That kind of surprised me too. I mean, I would have thought we'd have had one random person in there, you know, that came in to buy a beer and would throw $3 down on the counter. Not one person under the age of 40. And that surprised me. Now, Why does that, why is that interesting, and why is that important? The reason that I did this original study and why I did this one is because it appears to me that the young people under the age of 40 are either not educated about credit cards or just don't care about money. And I can't figure out which one it is. Now, I was just random conversations. I was talking to a person who is a high net worth individual, and I was talking to him about making money on his credit cards, and he says, I don't use credit cards. It's all debit cards. And I said, why would you do that? And he said, because I don't want to be bothered with it. Okay, I mean, I kind of get it. I mean, it's kind of like, I guess it's kind of like spending money on exorbitant food. If you can afford it and you want to throw money away every month, then I guess that's fine. Then I was talking to a young person, 22 years old, and I was talking to her about credit cards, and she says, oh, I never use credit cards. It's always debit. And I said, but why? Why would you do that? And she says, well, I don't want to pay interest on my money. So I can't decide. You know, she thinks if she uses credit cards, she's going to have to pay interest. And the only way you're going to have to pay interest is if you don't pay your cards off. And everybody on these channels always teaches pay your credit cards in full at the end of the month. If you did that one thing, you would make money. Now, how many young people out there at the end of the month are wishing, boy, I wish I had $50 more just to get me through for the month? You could make $50 a month on your credit cards if you just did that one thing. And I got to tell you, when I'm standing at that register and I ask debit or credit and they say debit, the question always comes into my mind, why? Why are you doing that? That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I did a video called 10 Reasons to Use Credit Cards. And I went through every idea I could think of for why people would use debit cards. And I showed them the opposite with the credit card. I couldn't find one positive reason to use debit cards over credit cards. Not one. They would rather not make money and use their own cash as opposed to making money. I've had people stand in line on their phones transferring money from savings to checking just to cover the cost of what they're buying. And what they're buying is not a necessity for most people. So why they would do that, they're taking money out of their savings account rather than using a credit card. I don't understand it. That's why I did the study. That's why I did this follow-up. And I got to tell you, I've done it twice and I've been surprised both times. And I want to ask you, if you use debit cards, why are you doing that? I don't even try hard, and I make $1,000 at least a year on credit cards. And I don't even try hard, and I'm not a high-income individual. I make less than $40,000 a year. But I make about $1,000 on my credit cards. Without even trying. And yet there's people taking money out of their savings account to cover unnecessary costs just because they don't want to use a credit card. It makes no sense at all. None at all. Well, just thought I'd give you some food for thought. You guys have a great day, a great week, and happy investing.